So what were kind of your design goals for this? In fact, you got batteries and all those kinds of things. So what were some of the challenges you had to confront to pull this project together?
Wow, with the battery, so one of the, I believe, all in all, as a bike itself, you're looking at supply chain. I mean, that's one of the biggest challenges because here in China you can get a bunch of stuff and you can get a lot of really cheap stuff, but as the word says, cheap, that's pretty much what they are. They're not specified for automotive industry. I mean, they're just too weak. They just won't perform or won't last long enough. And I believe that's one of the first thing, and that we had to really spend a lot of time finding the right partners, finding the right supply chain, making sure that all of the components are coming here and they're the right quality and they delivered at the same quality consistently.
Yeah.
When Once we overcome the supply chain on the basic motorcycle parts, because you want to build the actual motorcycle frame, etc., then with the battery, when it came to it, it was the space limitations. I mean, motorcycles are not cars, so you don't have like X amount of space on the
Huge
floor where you can
floor
squeeze.
pan. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about this, electric cars, you can fill the batteries almost all the way to the top in your front trunk and in the back, etc. If you
Right.
really want to. But with motorcycles, you don't want that. And so when we start designing, when we start working on the battery, it was about trying to fit it in a limited amount of space, as well as we wanted to make sure that both the battery is performing the right way. So how can I put it the right way? You know, some of the companies talking about like super fast charging as well and stuff like this. So you want to wire batteries for different purposes, but then what they don't tell you is that that super fast charging will pretty much kill your battery in about a year or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we wanted to make sure that when we build the battery, we have enough, let's say, space to do the charging, and not crazy fast charging, but fast enough. And then what you call it, the monitoring system behind it. So when we built the battery, we wanted to get as much data as possible. So we had to build our own monitoring system, the BMS systems as well.
All
We had
right.
to build all of that to connect, and so that we can have the information from each individual cell. So we can get as much information from the battery as well, and that information can be transmitted to the company. And as we start doing that stuff, we realize, oh wow, we actually built a cloud system with this motorcycle already, where customers don't really have to, the customers themselves don't really have to look after or check in continuously to the bike, because the bike itself monitors that. And if there's any difficulty, it just sends the ping directly to the company. And then we just get the information straight away happening. We can contact the customers in the back. Then I believe the other elements was as well, how do we just design this bike, this first product? And a lot of companies, they went and they start building and molding all of the components by themselves, and they start coming with some really interesting designs, I would say it this way. However, some of those
Yeah.
designs, as they say that in UK, I would say as the British people usually say, they're a little bit too loud, too fashionable, too fancy. It's not something that you would ride around because people would point fingers at you. I don't know. Some people like it, some people don't. We
Right.
wanted something that can just fit into a traffic, that you don't feel a bit different. So that's where the design came from. And many of those elements we had to actually, we wanted to integrate from already existing infrastructure. However, some we had to design as well and build in-house. Foxconn helped us as well with some of the things, supply chain. We have to find our own molding places. So yeah, I believe they're a little bit like that of those
Okay,
things.
so it's pulling it all together and then integrating it to make sure it all works. So have you sold any bikes at this point, or are you
Yeah,
still? Go ahead.
we've already sold over 150 units. So it's like 50-50 in China as well as overseas. So
Okay.
majority of the overseas bikes were what we call our test units. So these are local distributors or dealers that, as well as private people who really believe in the product, and they're like, look, I don't have tons of money, but I want to buy the bike as a way to invest in you guys, to help you guys out, and so forth. Yeah.
So
So
so they're
nowadays,
your beta testers then.
yep. So
Yeah.
the product is already road tested, and it's been road tested for a couple of years,
Okay.
and That's why all the data, when we say it, it's not so much as coming just out of the office. We actually know what's going on with the bikes. All the beta testers, they what do you call it? They really return some really good feedback to us, whether it's performance-wise, whether it's additional elements, or for example, add on to what do you call it, to charging station points onto the bike as well. And those elements we integrated, we quickly respond, and we even to some of the users we send the parts so they can upgrade those bikes as well.
Okay, so you've got obviously you've got some pockets behind you. Tell us, how did you?
Hello?
Yes, can
Hello?
you hear me? I'm still here. I'm still talking. Oop, you froze. Dang.
Sorry, something cut us.
Okay,
There.
yeah, you're back.
Yep. Yeah, sorry.
Looks like.
Whereabouts did I finish?
Okay, you were talking about your. Yeah, where was I going? Now I'm distracted myself.
You were saying like how many bikes have we sold, and have the bike been
Right, and I was
tested
going
as
to
well?
ask you what sort of is the marketing plan? What's the price on the bike?
Well, the Urban S, we aim at under 10,000 USD stateside
Okay,
once we get there, and we're looking at around 8,500 euros across Europe.
okay,
Right now, the marketing and expansion is we going with European market. I believe it's very strategic as well to kind of establish ourselves with existing infrastructure. And well, I'll be honest with you, the European governments as well, they're a little bit more supportive than
yes,
the US. It's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you guys have a lot cheaper petrol than the Europeans. Europeans have to import it. You guys can just get it
yeah, to the
in
tune of
California.
several trillion dollars a year in taxpayer subsidies. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got 150 bikes out there. What's the potential? I mean, with 5,000 or 50,000 square meters or whatever that factory is, how many bikes could you turn out? And we're losing the signal again. So, can you hear me? Are you still there?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, all right, good. So,
Yeah.
how many? I mean, what's potential production you guys can turn out there?
Well, pretty sure at this plant where we are right now, we can easily manufacture up to 3,000 units a month.
Okay,
And if we already talked with Foxconn, they said that if we need more, they just give us another warehouse, another assembly line that the Beijing office can do up to 4,000. And then if we exceed those numbers, they have additional spaces, additional assembly lines where they can do so. We are not really limited by that
okay,
volume.
okay. That's cool. So you're starting off. You're going to do the European market. We
Yep.
talked about the team. We talked about pricing. So U.S. market at some point, or just you're just going to focus mainly on Europe?
Well, put it this way: European market is first, as well, because we just finished the what you call it, the European E-mark homologation with the bikes, and
Okay.
the E-mark, it takes a lot less time than a DOT. We are looking at the third quarter of 2018 to go to US, as
Oh,
the
okay.
DOT takes a little bit longer than the E-mark for certifications. And yeah, once we're there, I'll definitely have you try the bike, get you going on it.
Oh, well, I would love to. Last motorcycle I rode was a Zero electric motorcycle at their plant out in California. So I have in my youth owned a motorcycle. Not very big, not very powerful. It was a trail bike, but yeah, I can ride a motorcycle. I can ride a bicycle. I can ride a motorcycle. So yeah, that would be fun. So your marketing plans then for this going to be online or through dealerships, or how are you going to handle that?
We are looking to move with local dealers and
Okay.
distributors. I mean, we're going to give them a big support in terms of online presence, as well as the on the ground what you call it, like a test ride events and stuff
Right.
like this.
Right.
But we're mostly going with existing infrastructure already.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, look, I'm looking forward to the second half of 2018 when maybe we'll see some of those some of those bikes here. So lots of luck with what you guys are doing, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
You are most welcome. Thanks again as well for the call today. We look forward to have you try it.
All right.
Every bit of feedback helps.
All right. Good. Thanks a lot.